Characteristics of air. Because air is invincible, it's not always easy to understand how it behaves and to realize that it has appreciable properties such as mass, viscosity, and pressure. Fluidity. Away from other influences, a body of air flows smoothly and uniformly in a continuous, stable, and predictable stream. When it encounters an object, it attempts to flow smoothly around it. If the object has a very smooth surface and gentle contours, for example a polished pebble, the stream of air flows past with minimal disruption. But if the object has rough surfaces, abrupt contours, or sharp corners, for example a brick, the smooth airflow breaks down into turbulent eddies and chaotic flow patterns which persist for a very great distance behind the object. This shouldn't be a surprise to you. Air is a fluid, and you already know how another fluid, water, behaves. Just like water, air flows around objects, and objects flowing through it encounter resistance. Mass. Air has a relatively low density, so it's easy to be misled into thinking that the mass of air is insignificant. This is far away from the truth. It's always useful to have a rough idea of the sorts of numbers involved. The example which follows may help you to understand how much mass is involved in the aerodynamics of a relatively small helicopter such as the Schweitzer 300C, which is a common training type. Taking a cross-section of the helicopter at its widest point gives us a frontal area of approximately 2.18 square meters. Now let's imagine the helicopter is cruising at just 60 knots. That translates to about 31 meters per second. If we multiply that by the frontal area it encounters, then this gives a flow rate of about 67 cubic meters per second. How much mass is that? If we multiply by standard sea level density, that's 1.225 kilograms per cubic meter, we get the mass flow rate of about 82 kilograms per second. When you think of 82 kilograms of air impacting the helicopter every second, it's a little bit easier to appreciate that large aerodynamic forces can be created. Viscosity. Other characteristics of air can be equally difficult to appreciate. Viscosity describes the stickiness of a fluid, like syrup or oil, and describes the difficulty that molecules have when they try to flow past one another. Viscosity also causes moving molecules to pull along those adjacent to them. Air is not as viscous as syrup, but it does still exhibit viscosity. This is what causes it to form eddies and turbulence when disturbed. Viscosity is a very significant factor. One other important characteristic of fluids is resistance. Whenever a fluid is disturbed by a moving object, its viscosity will cause it to resist the object's movement. The more disturbance created, the more resistance the fluid will be to an object moving through it.